Hello, I'm Hasina and welcome to my channel, Mostly Florals. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to create this cozy cottage illustration in Procreate. So let's get started. For today's illustration, we'll be working on a canvas size of 6000 by 4500 pixels and using my favorite cozy color palette with a hint of spring. This color palette is available as a free download in my Gumroad store. Additionally, the outline of this illustration is available for digital download in my Etsy shop. You can find both links in the description box below. Let's dive right into creating this cozy cottage illustration. I've got my canvas ready and I'll start with a rough sketch to bring the idea to life. The sketch will be very loose as I'm focusing more on capturing the overall concept rather than fine details at this stage. Talking about illustrating cozy cottages, it's the perfect season to draw them. Autumn is such an inspiring time with its warm colors and comforting vibes, making it ideal for starting a cozy cottage illustration or even picking up drawing as a new hobby. I've drawn plenty of cottages before for various projects, and they are one of my favorite subjects to illustrate. For this piece, I'll be drawing purely from my imagination. No references this time, so feel free to use your own ideas or inspirations as well. For this illustration, I'll be using a mix of brushes to get the best results. I'll start with the 6B pencil for sketching and coloring. It's such a versatile brush with a lovely textured effect. For shading, I'll switch to the Bonobo chalk brush, which is available online as a free download. For adding details, I'll be using the Narinda pencil. Lastly, I'll also be using the dry ink brush for just one or two elements to add shadows and a bit of extra shading. Except for the Bonobo chalk brush, all the other brushes are default brushes available in Procreate. Now, if you aren't a Procreate user, don't worry. While this tutorial focuses on Procreate and how to use it to create a lovely illustration, you can absolutely follow along with traditional tools too. Crayons, colored pencils, markers, anything works. My channel is all about inspiring aspiring artists, whether they are just starting out or simply here to enjoy the creative process. Either way, you're more than welcome here. Living in a cottage surrounded by florals is such a dream, and that's exactly the idea I'm trying to capture here. However, I'm adding a bit of a magical twist by including some jumbo-sized flowers to make the scene feel even more whimsical and enchanting. Now that I'm done with the rough sketch, I'll reduce the opacity of this layer and create a new layer for the fine outline. I'll be using the 6B pencil for this step, making sure the lines are clean and precise. To make things easier for you, I'll be uploading this outline to my Etsy shop. If you'd like to purchase it, just click the link in the description box below. You can import it directly into your Procreate canvas and use it as a reference. Don't forget to tag me on Instagram at mostly.florals. I'd absolutely love to see your work. Outlining can take some time, but having a crisp outline really helps making the coloring process smoother and more enjoyable. Now that I'm done with my final outline, let's take a quick look at the layers. On layer 1, I have my initial sketch, which I'm going to keep turned off for now. Layer 2 is my final outline, and layer 3 is where I have blocked in the base colors. Blocking the base colors like this and setting the layer as a reference makes the coloring process much easier for me. I'm also going to minimize this color block and place it in the top left corner for easy color picking as I work. Next, I'll go back to layer 2, reduce the opacity of the outline layer, and create a new layer for coloring. I'll start with the roof of the cottage and build the colors from there. Once I'm done coloring the roof, I'll alpha lock this layer to add some shading. I'll use a glowy light brown shade with the Bonobo chalk brush for a soft textured effect. After that, I'll switch to the Narendra pencil to add some cute detailing on the roof. I'll also be using a touch of black to add a shadowy effect along the edges of the roof, like this. Detailing is everything to me. I love adding those little touches. It's super fun and definitely makes the illustration so much better. Now, moving on to the walls of the cottage. Once again, in a new layer, I'll draw the outline and then fill in the color. I prefer coloring this way most of the time because it really enhances the texture of the 6B pencil. It gives the illustration a pencil-colored look that feels much closer to traditional art. Unlike using color drop, this method retains that textured effect, which I love. Also, try to keep all layers separate as much as possible. I only merge layers when I'm absolutely sure and completely done with that particular element. Now I'll alpha lock the walls layer and add some shading using the Bonobo chalk brush. Shading really enhances the look of the illustration. It gives a nice pop to the flat elements and adds depth. Next, I'll turn off the walls layer and on a new layer start working on this little doe. Now I'll alpha lock the layer to add in the details. After that, I'll move on to the cute green bush plants and then the French balcony. Let's merge some layers here since I'm really happy with these elements. Now moving on to the door and windows. I'm pinching these layers to merge them and then duplicating the merged layer so I can place it on the other side of the door. If some elements are identical, instead of drawing them again, you can simply duplicate and reposition them. Just make sure to turn off snapping and magnetics for easier placement. Now that the cute cottage is finished, I'm creating a new layer and placing it below the cottage layer to start working on the florals. Let's begin with the orange one. Here I'm once again using the Bonobo chalk brush with both lighter and darker tones to add shadows, followed by the Narendra pencil for sharp details. These simple steps are my go-to for creating lovely illustrated elements and represent one of my most used styles. While I'm coloring these florals, let's talk about Procreate and why it's such an amazing tool, especially if you are just starting out or looking to explore digital art as a hobby. Procreate is so versatile, it offers everything from basic sketching to advanced illustration techniques, and the best part is how intuitive it feels. If you have never tried digital art before, this could be the perfect place to start. One of the things I love most about Procreate is that it gives you the flexibility to experiment without fear of making mistakes. You can always undo, erase, or tweak your work, which makes it a lot less intimidating than traditional mediums. If you've been thinking about giving Procreate a try, I'd say go for it. It's not just for professionals, it's for anyone who enjoys creating. So whether you're here to learn or just watch the process, I hope this inspires you to pick up your iPad or any other tools and start your own creative journey. For the next few elements, I'll be following the same process to continue coloring. So let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some therapeutic moments together. This flower was inspired by a marigold, and I initially had a different idea in mind for coloring it, but as I worked on it, I ended up really liking how it turned out. Even though I don't always depict these details exactly in the sketch, sometimes the process of painting or coloring takes the design in an entirely new direction, and that's the beauty of it. Finally, I'm done coloring all the elements. Now I'll create a new layer beneath all the other layers to add some background shading. I'll be using a few different shades of green and yellow for this, applying them with the Bonobo chalk brush to create a soft and textured effect. This is how it looks with the background added, and I'm so in love with the final result. At this stage, I'm just checking to see if everything looks good or if anything needs to be changed or adjusted. I'm also taking a moment to admire the details. It's so satisfying to see how everything comes together after the coloring process. I did feel like this area needed a darker shade of blue to make it more visible, so I made the change by simply dragging and dropping the selected color, and now it looks perfect. In a new layer, I'm creating another simple background, this time just a light tone of green. I like to have a couple of different background options with me because it gives flexibility for different projects, and honestly, I find it hard to stick to just one background sometimes. To be honest, I also love how this piece looks without any background at all. The colors come together so beautifully, giving it a lovely, cozy and sweet vibe all on their own. This is the final illustration, and I really enjoyed sharing the process with you. I hope you enjoyed it too. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Until next time, take care and happy creating!